Hey, how you been? How you doing? Have you been doing your work? Great, that's awesome. Okay, in this episode, we're gonna be doing some actual database writing. Okay, we're gonna be writing some actual data to the database. So before we do that, we gotta get some UI up and running. We gotta get some basic UI. This is not important. This won't be a very important part of the course. I'm not here to teach you UI. I'm here to teach you Firebase. So you're just gonna see a quick and then the UI will be done. And then I'll jump into how we write data to the database. And then in the next video, we're gonna see how we're gonna get data from the database. So this video won't be super long, I hope. Let's get started on the video. And there you go. I think we basically did it very quickly because I'm super fast. You write something here now. Hello, add. It works. It works. I'm a fucking genius, mate. So the first thing we're gonna do in this video, as I said in the beginning, is to write to the database. That's all we're gonna be focused on in this video, writing to the database. So let's look up the documentation. I guess you could probably learn how to search up stuff also in this video. You wanna write to a Firebase Firestore. What would you search? What would you search? Common sense. Firebase Firestore. Whatever. Then the first one is probably what you need. Then you go here and you see, set a document. Set a document. Now, set a document allows you to set a document in a collection. When you use the set function, you need to provide the name of the document you want to set. What is a document? Okay, break it down. Let's break it down. Firebase Firestore is a NoSQL database. And the way Firebase Firestore is structured is you have collections and documents. Okay, you start off with a collection. And then in that collection, you have documents. But documents can have collections within them as well. And then that collection can have documents too. And then that document can have collections. And then that collection can have documents. Let me show you. Here we have the Firebase emulator running locally, right? So if I go to the Firebase Firestore emulator and I just say dogs, this is just an example. I just want to show you the data structure. So dogs, it gives you automatically a randomly generated document ID. Don't care about that. And now it wants you, when you're creating a collection, it wants you to define at least one document in the collection, at least one. You could choose not to do that. You could just press save. And now you have a collection called dogs, and in that collection you have a document with no field. Kind of weird, but let's say you added a field. Dog name is potato. Okay, cool. You have a collection at the top level. In that collection, you have a document. You can add another document, and you can have the same fields in here called name, potato. You could, but the thing about NoSQL is, and it's kind of bad, you can have different fields in each document. See? One document has potato and only the field name. One document has age and name. It's not going to scream at you. You could have a collection with no matching fields at all. La la la, ah la la, ho ho. It's not going to scream at you. It's not going to stop you. And this is one of the main reasons why people don't like using NoSQL databases, especially Firestore. There is no schema unless you try your best to maintain a schema with your team on the front end or develop some framework that you have to strictly follow. Any developer can write anything they want to the database. And it's going to mess up the data structure, which is why a lot of people don't like NoSQL. We're not going to get into that. I just want you to understand the data structure. So I said that you have collections and then documents in those collections. And then I said documents can have collections of their own, right? So I can go here in this document and create a new collection. It could be whatever you want. You could say, I don't know, what do you want? Mice? Mice, I don't know. Mice has a field called cheese. Cheese has a field called cheddar. Has a value of cheddar. It makes no sense, but you get what I'm saying. So this dogs collection has 3 documents. This one doesn't have any extra collections. This one doesn't have any extra collections. This one does. This one has this collection. And this collection has this document. And this document can have a new collection and can have more fields. You see how this could get messy if you don't maintain it properly. So one of the main rules when using a Firebase Firestore NoSQL database is that you gotta have some kind of rules around how you write documents, how you write collections, how you structure your database. It's very free. It's very free, which can be a good thing or a bad thing. Depends on you. And also, I would say structure the data how you would query it. That's very important. It's very important to understand how you're going to be using the data on the front end or anywhere. If you structure the data in a way that it's difficult for you to query, you're going to be making a lot of unnecessary reads and writes to the database. And that's how Firestore charges you, with reads and writes and updates. Now that you roughly know how a Firestore database is structured, I'm just going to delete everything. Okay? I hope you don't mind. Please, don't be sad. Not you, it's me. Cool. It's clean. It's nice. Everything's clear. So now you have the concept of collections and documents. Very nice. Very good. Very clean. On the Firebase documentation, you need to understand that there is set a document and add a document. Setting a document will require you to provide the ID of the document when you set it. Remember that random ID that is given to every document? If you use this function, setDoc, it expects you to give an ID. But a lot of the times, we don't want to be setting our own IDs. We want Firebase to handle that. We don't want to be thinking about duplicate IDs, right? We don't want to be worrying about that. So you could go down here and use something like this instead. Add doc, okay? Let me show you. Let me just show you. All right, chill. Damn. Import these two things. This is what you're going to need. Now, I want you to look at this. What part of this code is doing the adding? Is it this whole thing? No, it's actually this. This is the only part that's doing the adding. Add doc to a collection, and this is what I want. Notice we didn't define the ID of the document. We didn't need to. Add doc will generate an ID for you. So what does add doc take in? Collection, okay, and the data you want to write into that collection. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a function called add doc to database. As you can see, GitHub Copilot is being very smart. So I'm going to disable GitHub Copilot for this tutorial. Goodbye, boy. Notice this function is using add doc, and it said await, which implies that this is an asynchronous function. So you need to do async right here. Now you can do this. Await, and it says, okay, I want to write to this collection, but I need a reference to this database. So what's this? You know what this is. This is the DB that you exported from your firebase.ts right here, right? So you can just import that. If you hover, it should say, it didn't say, I don't know why, but let's do it ourselves. Import DB from services Firebase. Happy? Why not happy? Interesting. Okay, I think it's not happy because I didn't actually export it. I'm sorry, it's my bad. And now it's happy. See? DB. What it needs is a reference to your database. And also, the collection you want to be writing to. What's the collection we want to be writing to? We haven't even defined it. We haven't even created it. We created dogs, but now we haven't even created this collection. First of all, what should we call this collection? Let's call it to-dos. To-dos. Okay? Now, don't worry that, hey, I haven't created the collection in here. I haven't created it, Justin. What are we gonna do? Give up, I guess. Don't worry, it'll create it for you. It's smart like that, okay? Now, you have a reference to the database and the collection you want to write to. Now we have to think. What do we want to write into every document that we write into this database? All right? What does a to-do have? What do you have to do to create a to-do? So a to-do has some properties, but the most obvious one would be title, I guess. A to-do has a title, and this should be something that you wrote into the input, which means that this function has one input, which is the text of the to-do, and it's a string. And you want to pass that text into the database. So how this would work is that you would have this function add doc to database, and then you would pass this function the text. And then this function will go and call this add doc function. This add doc function has a reference to the collection you want to write to and also the data you want to write to the collection. From the button that we clicked, we can just do this. Instead of setting the to-dos, we can just do this. Add doc to database and then write the string. What's the string? The string is what we have here, input ref dot current dot value. That is what we're going to write, and if it doesn't exist, write an empty string. Do you see what I did there? Do you see, child? If we go into this input and we say potato and we press add, we will get permission denied. Why? Why did that happen? Permission denied. I'm making it seem like I planned for this. I didn't. I forgot, because when you do a Firebase project, you have to define some rules. Why did that break? Firestore has its own rules, and it's on a document level, right? But now, since we're having a test project, it has a very basic rules. Basically, it's saying that in this firestore.rules file, right, which the Firebase emulator is fetching its rules from, it's seeing that, okay, I will allow read and write if the request that comes in has a time earlier than the 6th of March 2023. And you don't know this, but today is the 19th of March 2023. And so Firebase is being like, no, you can't go in. What you could do is come in here and change the rules to something like the 30th of March. Okay, this should make it work. Now it should be updated. As you can see here, it said rules updated. So if I do this again, refresh, it should work, right? Potato. But it might not work. It did work. The reason why I said it might not work is I thought the Firebase emulator would need me to restart it, but it didn't. It was good. It was smart. So if I go right now into my Firebase emulator suite, I should see a new collection called to-dos and one document in there with the title of potato. To-dos, one document, title potato. It worked. But Justin, why didn't I see it appear on the page itself? Didn't I say that in this episode we're going to be looking at writes only? Didn't I say that? This is only writing. I haven't fetched the data from the database yet. That's the next episode. Are you even sure? It's fine. So we wrote to the database, okay? What did we learn, kids? What did we learn? This is how you write to the database without needing to specify a document ID. You can have as many fields in here as you want, and the fields can be as inconsistent as you want across the entire collection, okay? It can be as inconsistent as you want. Firebase does not enforce you. Firebase does not enforce any type of schema. It's beautiful, beautifully chaotic. Firestore rules. When you run the emulator locally, the Firestore rules that Firebase emulator suite respects comes from this file here, firestore.rules. The reason why we couldn't write it earlier is because it was like this. But now it's like this. You could also change it to this. Because what was that? This just breaks down to a boolean, right? Is this less than this? Yes. Then you can write. You could just do this. That's not recommended, but because we're in testing environment, this is acceptable for now. In the real world, this wouldn't be that simple. You would have a different data structure and you would kind of tie the to-dos to the users. And so this user couldn't write to-dos for the other user because you're having a world-class to-do list that's going to be used by everyone on earth. And so you want to make sure that the rules are set correctly, right? Correct? That's, I think, basically what we learned today. We've done most of the things. I hope you like this kind of messy tutorials. I think it's okay. It's got some character. Yeah. Hey, have a great day. See you in the next episode. I love you.